everyone. Today I am going to be showing you what people think of Breakthrough. Let's go. What do you think when you hear Breakthrough?
I think community when I hear Breakthrough.
Probably the first word that comes to mind is compassion.
Having fun, basketball, meeting new people.
I play with Legos with my friend.
I think of opportunity.
Relationship.
Homework, help, friends, basketball, and football.
One word that I think about Breakthrough is happy. I feel like myself here. I feel comfortable here.
The one word I think of is people.
Oh, that's great.
I like books.
Committed.
God.
I think of love.
Community.
My teachers.
When I hear Breakthrough, I think of fitness, health, and most important, joy.
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 When I hear Breakthrough, joy.
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 So there you have it. The word is joy. What's joy without a dance party? Hit it, DJ.
I just love getting to see the work of Breakthrough in action, don't you? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Breakthrough's annual benefit. My name is Wawanda Cannon, and I am so grateful to be with you all this evening. Each year, we get to gather and celebrate the incredible work that Breakthrough is doing in and with the community of Garfield Park. When we started our virtual event in 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we were amazed and grateful at the response and groundswell of people from across the nation that tuned in. It was pretty amazing. Some of you are here even with us again tonight, and we thank you for that. As a result, we now have a national audience and are no longer the best kept secret on the west side of Chicago. And because of that, we still think it's important to share our event, not just in person, but to continue virtually. And we're so grateful to have all of you with us here tonight. We have an amazing program where we'll be celebrating 30 years of Breakthrough and exploring our theme, joy. But before we get into that, it's time for the moment that I know you all have been waiting for all year long. It's the true spirit of sharing the Breakthrough mission and what's become somewhat of a tradition for our benefit. Are you ready? Okay, take out your phone and snap a photo of yourself and whomever you're watching with tonight and tag us at #BreakthroughBenefit. In fact, do me a favor. Now, the team doesn't know this, so don't tell them. But snap 2 pictures. And the last one, do it with an expression of pure joy. I'm gonna do it too. You ready? And go. Wasn't that great? Oh my gosh, you guys are all so wonderful. And our staff and community are so encouraged to see the photos that you guys upload from all over the world. Really, every year, you make us smile, and we can't say thank you enough. At Breakthrough, we embody a culture of radical hospitality, positivity, passion, and personal connection, as you can see. But we also know that Breakthrough's history and work sits at the intersection of lament and joy. And to explore lament and joy, it honors the full spectrum of our work. And tonight, we will hear stories about the challenges we face and how we mourn alongside our community and our neighbors, but also how we find joy in the work God is doing here at Breakthrough, through all of us. I hope that during and after tonight, you're inspired, that this moment and this time of connection and the stories that you hear will move you deeper in understanding, action, and giving with Breakthrough and our community. We count on people like you to partner with us and make this work reality. This is a fundraiser after all. And I hope that tonight you'll feel led to continue or start a relationship with Breakthrough in an impactful way. Now, I know that some of you are new to the work of Breakthrough. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. So before we get into the stories in our program, I'd like to introduce you to our MC for the night, who will join us and take us through the evening. He's new to our team, and we're so excited that he's here, but he's not new to the work. In fact, he's been connected to Breakthrough for 20 years, just like many of you. I'm excited to introduce Breakthrough's MC for the evening, Bob Marsh, our longtime friend and supporter. But before Bob takes the stage, here's a really quick overview video of Breakthrough and our work in the community.
Breakthrough is a nonprofit organization located on the west side of Chicago and the Garfield Park neighborhood. Here we partner with community residents to provide access to resources, to build connections, develop skills, and open doors of opportunity.
We have a bold vision in Garfield Park. We are focused on bringing resources and being part of the culture within the community itself, where people can live their full, best life if we can solve the issues of access to opportunity.
We are a group of diverse people that come together to see a safe, stable, engaged, and thriving Garfield Park.
Since our founding in 1992, Breakthrough has partnered with those affected by homelessness to provide housing and wraparound services. We also have support center services between the hours of 9 and 3 p.m., where we are providing breakfast, lunch, showers, phone, access to printers, internet. We have licensed clinical social workers and wellness coaches who are meeting the needs of the folks who are coming in. Our goal is to move people from crisis to stability.
The Breakthrough Youth Network provides services for youth in Garfield Park as early as 2 years old, all the way up to young adults at age 24. These services start with early childhood, called Breakthrough Beginners, and ends with college and career services for our oldest youth. In between, we have after-school programs and skill-building programs such as art, technology, and sports, where students build healthy relationships in a safe place. There are positive youth development topics such as leadership and growing academic skills. We see young people grow up to be healthy adults who are thriving in their adult life.
Through Breakthrough's Economic Opportunity Center, we're providing opportunities for financial stability, occupational advancement, and financial independence. Financial independence and financial stability looks different for everybody. For some, it might look like that they need to develop skills to acquire their first job. For others, it might mean that they want to start a savings account, or how do I become a first-time homeowner? We understand that there are certain barriers that exist in our community, and we're here through the Economic Opportunity Center to help people find their way wherever they are along their journey.
Our community experiences a high rate of violence. Breakthrough's response includes 24/7 street outreach team, case management, victim services, and our safe space events. Breakthrough's goal is that residents experience fewer incidents of violence in their lives, increase their feelings of safety, heal from trauma, and are restored to their community.
Our food pantry exists because there are people who don't have access to healthy food items or to food at all. And so we have healthy and nutritious food for those in our community. People can come in, they can shop from the shelves, grab what they want to get fresh, healthy food.
The work that Breakthrough does is so important because there are inequities that have existed for such a long time. Those inequities have to be addressed. Resiliency has already been built. We recognize the dignity of people. We hold true to this idea that relationships are important, and we walk that out through our faith in God. Breakthrough is motivated by love and shows up every day to dismantle those inequities.
Thank you for the introduction, Walanda, and good evening, everyone. My name is Bob Marsh, and I am honored to be the MC for Breakthrough's annual benefit. For the last 20 years, I have been a friend of Breakthrough and recently took on the role of Director of Donor Relations. And before coming to Breakthrough, I spent 18 years supporting children and adults with disabilities for Elam Christian Services. And like many of you, I have known and have been impressed with Breakthrough's founder, our Lois Sutter. I continue to be impressed with the expansion of the ministry's influence and impact under the leadership of Yolanda Fields. In my role at Breakthrough, I am excited to help people grow in the grace of giving by offering them a variety of opportunities to connect with Breakthrough's mission and purpose. And that's why I'm here tonight, to walk alongside the stories of joy and lament with you, to offer insight into the nuanced and deeper aspects of Breakthrough, and to give space and pause in areas of reflection. Breakthrough is celebrating 30 years. In these 30 years, we have seen the ministry grow, build roots in Garfield Park, elevate local residents and their leadership, and take on the hard work of confronting inequities. In these 30 years, Breakthrough has partnered with hundreds of thousands of people and been privileged to be part of their stories. Tonight, we will hear 3 stories about the core work of Breakthrough. In our first story, we get to introduce you to D'Angelo, whose story illustrates Breakthrough's strategy and desire for authentic and meaningful community integration. We believe that the only way to truly become part of a community is to build intimate connections, listen, and respond by often putting our own agendas aside. We believe that the best people to do the work of the community are the people from the community. D'Angelo embodies this as a lifelong Garfield Park resident, community leader, and Breakthrough employee. I'm excited to introduce you to him and the work he is doing in Garfield Park.
Growing up in East Garfield Park was interesting. So this is Walnut. A few of the buildings I used to stay in is coming up. Brings back a ton of memories. Right here is where I started playing football. This corner store right here, we used to always go there. Every morning, we used to walk to school. Felt like everything we needed was here. This is Breakthrough. Back in 2006, as soon as I walked through these doors, I felt welcomed by all the staff members, like Lisa, Self, Marcy, Bill. They just made it like their mission to make everyone who walked through these doors feel like they're special.
I have known D'Angelo since he was in 4th or 5th grade. He's had a strong network of support by his family, by his teachers, by his principal.
We've been living in the community for over 45 years. When we met the people that worked at Breakthrough, it just felt good and felt right.
They right there.
Yep.
They always
been right there with me and my wife and kids.
That's probably been one of the most special parts of being at Breakthrough for me. The community, it provides deep, transformational relationships. And we work together. That's what creates a place for people to thrive.
Breakthrough just been positive for all of our kids, especially D'Angelo.
Being connected with Breakthrough gave me a new perspective. It really shaped my identity, but also going to Byler, I felt like myself really growing there. It was like that partnership has been amazing.
It's been 18 years. The positive relationship that comes from Byler and Breakthrough is the unit that it gives us as a whole in Garfield Park. We are able to connect with parents to make sure that our children are safe.
It's not just, we'll just go on Breakthrough, but they keep up with the teachers here as well. People there have communicated with me how they're doing in the classroom and when they're at Breakthrough. That partnership with the teacher is great.
Over my time at Breakthrough, it's become very clear to me that programs don't change people, people change people. And that is what Breakthrough is all about. It's about partnering with families, partnering with the community to surround young people, students, children, and provide them access to opportunities so that they can come back to the community and continue to give to others.
One day, out of nowhere, I get an email, hey, we have this summer TA position open. And of course I was like, yeah, I'll help out. It was something about that summer coming back to Breakthrough, working with the kids there that made me want to be there. It wasn't until I got to Breakthrough I realized that I had like these unique abilities about myself. This is where I need to be. This is the type of work I need to be in.
20 years ago, I had no idea that I would be sitting in this space today, calling the students that I tutored and taught my colleagues. But to be able to be a part of providing a space for their voices to be heard and for them to be leaders in their community, leaders here in this organization, I don't think there's a greater reward than that.
This year, I was promoted to Associate Director over our Sports and Fitness program and also Fitness Center now.
To have D'Angelo as part of my team and to hear his vision for the sports and fitness program, his desire to have a strong partnership with community assets like Beidler Elementary is all that I could have ever wanted for the youth program.
D'Angelo has been nothing but a pleasure. His family is a pleasure. Just to see a kid that I once taught and now to have matured and really given back to the community that he was born and raised in brought nothing but joy.
I love how my alumni from Breakthrough, they come back and give back. They give back to the other students who are here. They remember their teachers, and that's what I love about them and Breakthrough, and that connection is still there and it's strong.
There are so many amazing people in this community, so many talented youth. My story, what I'm doing, is just one of many people staying here, building together.
I have always been inspired by the quote that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that is what Breakthrough is all about.
What I love about D'Angelo's story is that it demonstrates the assets within Garfield Park and what God is doing through the people in the community in partnership with Breakthrough. This is a beautiful community where over 20,000 people live, play, work, and go to church and school. And what makes Breakthrough different is that we live life together. We share meals, birthday parties, funerals, weddings, graduations, and all the simple moments in between. We share each other's stories and have created a space where we can walk together in difficult times, as well as times of celebration. These are the things that we often can't put into words. These are the intangibles that make up a joy of a community. These little moments of everyday life here in Garfield Park. D'Angelo said it best. He is one of many people in Garfield Park. We have a community full of people like D'Angelo who are using their gifts and talents to uplift each other. Breakthrough's vision and future strategy is dependent on investing in the assets of our neighborhood, which includes the people, schools, churches, and local leaders. It is a joyful opportunity that we all do together in community. 30 years ago, our founder responded to a need and calling to serve individuals experiencing homelessness. We have built our foundation on providing essential housing, food, and basic needs to the most vulnerable in our community. There was and continues to be a sense of urgency in meeting the real and critical needs of our brothers and sisters. And now, there is a new sense of urgency to providing housing support for a growing number of families experiencing homelessness. 2020 marked the first time in over a decade that family homelessness has not decreased. And at Breakthrough, we must respond to support women, men, and children who are experiencing homelessness, and our response must include resources and access to the most marginalized in our community. In our next story, we revisit Breakthrough's foundational work and dig deeper into the crisis of families experiencing homelessness.
I was 19 years of age. I was looking for work and heard about the Women's Center. Working with the homeless population for me was exciting. I fell in love with the work, fell in love with the atmosphere, and fell in love with the women and the mission of Breakthrough. I can remember one time in particular, I was at the Women's Center, and there was a woman who showed up with 3 children and a grandchild. We were not serving women and children at the time, but we were not going to allow her and those children to walk away from our doors without the basic necessities of life. We realized how dire the need for shelter for families was.
Years ago, people thought of a homeless person as typically a single man living on the street. It doesn't include living doubled up, which is the term that's used for people living temporarily with others in Chicago.
The coordinated entry system evaluates the person's level of homelessness. If you don't have any disabling conditions, and if you haven't experienced homelessness in a year or had several episodes in the last 3 years, you don't meet the criteria, you're not housed.
Families living doubled up can be really devastating. There's often a whole family sleeping in a living room. It's hard for children to get sleep. It's hard for them to have a quiet space to do their homework. There's no stability. You can be asked to leave at any time. Families might move 5-6 times in the course of a year. And then they don't have the support, like a social worker, to help them.
As a person with lived experience, whose parents were addicted to substances, I can remember a time where my mother needed assistance, and she had people who would show up in those spaces. It is important to me that we eradicate the barriers that exist when it comes to housing families. When this family showed up on our doorstep, it kicked us into high gear. We started to provide wraparound services. We started to partner with landlords throughout the city of Chicago. We knew we needed to do more, and Lauren Cole, our director of housing, has started working on a plan.
Breakthrough is taking a stand. They're saying, we see these families coming into our programs every day, and they need housing.
This housing project will be dignifying, it will be safe, it will be beautiful. It's not just about putting a roof over a family's head. We're moving families from crisis to stability. When I think back to the mom who showed up at our doors years ago with her family, I get so excited about what's gonna happen a year from now. With this program, if she showed up, we'd be able to help her. And this brings me joy because we're actually going to be meeting the needs of the families of East Garfield Park.
I'm so grateful for people like Sharon and Julie who provide context, education, and history around the work of Breakthrough in the larger community of people working to support individuals and families experiencing homelessness. What excites me is that Breakthrough is an organization that is always evolving to meet these needs. The way that we see the community as the main focus informs our strategy and the ways that we grow. The way we are building a new program to address the needs of families is a clear example. Another example is our violence prevention work. 5 years ago, we responded when residents of the community asked for safety. We all see the headlines about violence in Chicago, and we mourn as we see the harm suffered by families experiencing the violent loss of life. We also know that there are solutions to the violence and stories that go beyond the headlines that are so widely covered by the media. A critical part of the solution is being led by the community and informs how we implement prevention, intervention, and restoration initiatives. The best people to describe this work and to tell stories that inspire hope are the people who are doing this work daily. That is why I am excited to introduce you to Damian Morris and his team. I know you will be as impressed as I am with their work.
Breakthrough's vision is a safe, stable, engaged Garfield Park where success is the norm and everyone thrives. If we're going to accomplish that mission, we have to address violence. Violence is something that everyone has experienced here, either directly or indirectly. Over the years, there's been a lot of talk from those who are on the outside looking in about different programs or policing methods that we should do. But Breakthrough believes that the community is pretty much designed to address those needs. At the center of our work, we have our violence prevention team. We have 15 men and women who are hyper-local. I really stress the importance of community governance.
My name is Naidra Turner. Everyone call me Nike. I've been living over here all my life.
My name is Robin Colbert. I essentially grew up in the Garfield Park area.
My name is Sierra Sanders. I'm 16 years old. I grew up in the Douglas area near the community.
We have a pretty great team at Violence Prevention. We try to hire and have people that have been known in their areas because we want to police our own community.
The 4 areas that we focus on is street outreach, case management, victim services, and light in the night.
Essentially, my job title is a peacekeeper. We get tired of going to funerals, so got to try to figure out, well, what can we do to stop this retaliation and to stop it from going too far.
We actually use our flip workers to de-escalate minor incidents from becoming either fatal or non-fatal shootings.
So much of trying to stop the retaliation and just try to nip the altercation in the bud. We use different tactics. Basically, you just gotta use your judgment, because you know these people, so you know how you can appeal to them.
Once we engage with the men and women on the street, we do a warm handoff to case management. They identify the barriers that the individual may be faced with and then work on eliminating those barriers.
A lot of our participants have been getting GEDs, getting employment. The other opportunities that Breakthrough have plays a big part in violence prevention.
What I've learned over the past 5 years of actually being in this position is that if you give people from the community an opportunity, they're gonna choose opportunity over violence. And then there's a victim or a victim's family that's suffering due to gun violence. Victim Services deals with the aftercare. We provide mental health or grief counseling, we provide funeral costs, and we provide lost wage costs as well. Our Light in the Night events is designed to reclaim spaces that was once safe, but violence kind of like dominated that area. The goal is to empower them to come back and take back that space.
We do these events to bring the community out and give different families, like, some people probably didn't know where their next meal was gonna come from, so feed them. Just make sure our community is having a good time and engaging with each other instead of feeding into the violence. Some people might think it's an easy job, but I look at it as I probably just saved somebody's life today.
To see the excitement on the family's face, they probably haven't been happy in so long, and they have us at Breakthrough changing their life around. That's more exciting than the sad part of the work.
Thinking about the people I've lost, sometimes it could be sad moments, sometimes it could be happy moments, but I feel like everything I do, I make it for them, so it won't be nothing sad to think about.
At times, many of us have the power to do something, but we just don't. Or we have the power to say something and we don't say it. And that's different with Breakthrough. We want to make sure that we advocate for those who feel like they don't have a voice. So we go to City Hall, we do marches, we sit at the tables. We want to let those stakeholders know that we're there for the people as well. It's not just about our organization. We have that community DNA, and so we're advocating for that. The community is a beautiful community. They want to feel safe, they want to feel stable, they want to thrive. If you give them the opportunity, there's a moment for restoration to happen.
Good evening. After hearing from the amazing people who generously shared their stories, I hope the space you're currently occupying is filled with additional happiness and joy. Tonight celebrates what is possible when 30 years of positive intentionality fills a community. When I discovered my life's work here at Breakthrough 20 years ago, I had no idea how transformative it would be for me. As the mother of 2 teen girls, it remains vital to me to model the change we want to see in the world. I'm the first to admit that change is not easily achieved and is even more challenging to live through. After having our second daughter, I remember deciding that I was ready to embrace some of the things I enjoyed doing before becoming a mom. I love telling this story because my girls were toddlers. Did I mention that they are now teens? Anyway, my husband thought it would be good to have them join him in praying for me before my first speaking engagement. As they huddled and prayed in a circle, my then 2.5-year-old prayed these exact words. "Thank you, God, that someone wants to hear mommy." The extra sass she put on the "thank you, God" told me that she was ready to embrace change. As the new executive director, I am eager to see more positive change in my community. With less than 2 years under my belt, I better understand the paradox of living joyfully while lamenting. We mourn every single life lost to gun violence on our blocks. We momentarily lose our breath when we learn that families are losing their homes because they can't afford rent. And while we are thankful to help bridge food gaps with our Fresh Market food pantry, we wish there was no unmet hunger. While attending funerals, meetings focused on the correct response to the opioid crisis, hearing stories of students disengaged from school and their justice involvement, and learning about the waiting list for preschool and shelter often creates a wave of lament. But then I work from our cafe space right outside our preschool, and it becomes my happy place. It's where our teens hang out on Thursdays and fill the space with their basketballs, dance moves, and staged nonchalance. I pop into our food pantry without a mask and find myself chastised by our seniors who volunteer. In that space, I am reminded I'm part of a community. When I enter the men's shelter in the morning and I'm thanked by one of the men for just being open, my joy is sustained. Throughout the evening, you've also received a glimpse into the joy I get to experience. You have seen and heard how people help change people's lives. D'Angelo's life and his commitment to his community are an example of that. Whether it was his school principal, teachers, volunteers at Breakthrough, or staff, they were all people partnering with D'Angelo's parents to contribute to the positive trajectory of his life. Those positive deposits have a ripple effect. D'Angelo, one of many in our community, gives of himself for other young people. You heard from Sierra, a young person who's making a difference in her community, and Robin, our peace ambassador, who's making the most of her second chance. When I have the opportunity to travel and leave the Chicago area, I am reminded of how the world views our city. From Tennessee to Egypt, every time I'm asked where is home, the response is similar after I say Chicago. What follows is either an indictment or a memorial. What I share is this: that under the news headlines are beautiful people filled with fortitude, and that I get the privilege of leading an organization that partners with the community for change. They are so sorry by the end of our conversation that they started with me. I know the answer to our violence problem in inner cities, that it begins with quality early learning programs, with having a way to earn enough money for food and a place to live. It's safe community spaces to play and access to quality health care. The answer is in relationships and accountability, all the things we're focused on at Breakthrough. So here's the vision. Everyone in our neighborhood is safe and has a place to call home. Every student is well and prepared for the next level. No one is hungry, poverty is eliminated, and wealth is built. How's that for bold? Please come and share in the movement. We have plans to move the needle over the next 5 years to make our vision a reality. With your help, we will deepen our partnerships, like the one you've heard about at Beidler Elementary. We will go where we are invited to expand our program and services beyond our 40 blocks. We will partner with the community to identify and advocate for systems of equity. Allies will be developed, resourced, and activated to do the work of justice. You've seen how excellent our staff is, and you've heard how hard they work. We need them to be well as they do good. They need to be developed and paid enough to support their families. To sustain programs and support growth and expansion, we must invest in Breakthrough's infrastructure. You heard from Julie about the state of homelessness. Most of Chicago's permanent housing resources are not available to families like those in our neighborhood, those who are living doubled up with other family or friends. Listen, we are committed to serving these families, and we recognize it is a radical commitment. Our plan to contribute to a thriving community is comprehensive and well thought out. It is fueled by the passion and commitment you have seen examples of today. It is evidenced in our 5 facilities in East Garfield Park, but it is absolutely unattainable without you. Earlier this year, I received a book written by Matthew Kelly as a gift. The quote that I love the most in this book is about redefining generosity. Kelly writes, "One of the biggest obstacles to igniting a generosity movement is the perception that generosity is something financially wealthy people do. Generosity isn't about billionaires giving billions. It isn't elitist. Generosity is for everyone. It is each person, you and me, giving every day according to our gifts and means. Tonight, I'm inviting you into a generosity movement. Your single act of generosity becomes collective generosity that will create change for years to come. We will not stop until everyone thrives. Will you join us?
Tonight, you have heard powerful stories from Breakthrough staff and Garfield Park leaders. There is a true joy in partnering with Breakthrough in this work. And tonight, I invite you to join us by making a financial donation to Breakthrough. There are 3 ways to give. First, you can go online and make a donation by credit card, debit card, or e-check at breakthrough.org/benefit. If you're watching this evening and have a giving card available, you can complete that giving card and mail it back to us at the P.O. Box address on the screen. On the giving card, you can choose to give via credit card, check, or EFT. If you'd like to donate via stock, please contact me directly. My email is on the screen. Finally, I'm excited to share that tonight all gifts will be matched, so your donation to Breakthrough will be doubled. Thank you for the meaningful ways that you partner with Breakthrough.
What jelly do you...
Bloopers are the best.
I gotta just stop thinking about the question, just talk.
I keep looking at the wrong place.
You can't dance in this video. That's not what this for.
Okay.
He was a little fella, and he was winning these trophies.
Hi, what do you think of... Yes!
Just the soccer. He was an all-star player.
Hi, what do you think...
This the honor roll.
Hi.
And this one was a helper's reward.
I was like, I can't have to say any of that again, do I?
Like, okay, great. Tonight. Sorry, everyone.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm sorry.
Homelessness, train.
Oh, man.
When you want to get a train, it never comes.
Let's go.
We're here to serve the community. Also think of Maya.
Boom.
She's phenomenal.
Mael,
I apologize about that.
what do you think when you hear Breakthrough? I feel tired.
Much better than Bob.
Okay, that is not true. That's just not true.
What word do you think of when you hear Breakthrough?
Jelly.
Joy. Joy.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope.